Hey, my two friends, Professor Walker. I'm just taking a break from doing some pipe work. It's been very hot, just like it's been everywhere. And so you got to wait till it's a little cooler to do stuff. So now is that time. But I thought I want to address the video, and I'm having trouble getting my pipe lit. I wanted to address the video I made a couple days ago about the pipe cottage and some of the reactions. Now, first, I will address the good doctor, and I say the good doctor because I don't believe he is. I believe his philosophies and ideas are wrong, and are more than wrong, they're actually bad ideas, bad philosophies. But he did respond to my video and post his comment up there, and of course he wanted to know what kind of professor I am, and I guess you could Google that shit. You Google it and you can find out all you want to know about me. But I'm not a history professor, I'm a criminal justice professor, so it's a different ball of wax, and I'm not a doctor. More of a blue collar professor. But anywho, guy who worked in construction briefly, worked driving an armored car, was in the Marines, and then a police officer. So I'm not an academic. So the good doctor has me beat there. But despite not having PhDs and doctorates, I know right from wrong. And glorifying the Confederacy is wrong. Glorifying Jefferson Davis is wrong. And there's no other way around it. And one thing that you kind of would notice about doing a video like this is then nut jobs just come out of the woodwork, right? Because when you are making content, that again, a lot of his content, perfectly fine. It's good. It's, restoring America. It's, God, faith, all that stuff, pipe smoking, all the stuff that most of us, or a lot of us, probably really love. This is gonna drive me crazy because it's a little bit crooked. All good stuff. But when you cross into Confederate flags and imagery, I think you go off base. And again, so the weirdos that come out, I mean, you get the people that just put comments, shut the F up, right? Because they're all about freedom until you say something they don't like. Now it's shut the F up. So I get a lot of those. But what is remarkable is some of the people coming to defend the good doctor are people like this guy, who claims that slavery was good for black people, that they gained skills and they got out of the bad conditions they were in Africa. That is about the most outrageous pile of shit that I think I've ever heard. Slavery was not good for any human being in the course of history. Human beings did not benefit from the institution of slavery. Slavery is a negative, was a negative, will always be a negative. Is it part of human history? Absolutely. Was it done worldwide? Absolutely. But to argue that it was good for people to be ripped from their homes and families, put on ships where large numbers of them never even made it here because they died in transit, and then coming to shores and being separated, husband, wife, children, put on auction blocks and sold to the highest bidders, and to work for the rest of their days for slave owners that could do whatever they wanted with them because they were property. That's pretty sick and immoral. And I found that over the last couple of days here, that is a lot of the feedback now that I've gotten from people. I get the people that think that, the Civil War, again, it wasn't about slavery, it was about states' rights. That's common. It's a common, more neo-Confederate position. And I know good people that think that. But what state right was it other than slavery? What did the southern states want to do that the northern states were imposing on them other than slavery? What was it? Did they go to war and die in the hundreds of thousands over some sort of regulation on farming, a tax rule, how their roads were to be built? No, it was over slavery. And by saying anything else, it's just pure revisionist history. And that's all it is. So, I don't know if I'm completely done talking about this, because again, I've been told by people to shut the F up, and I just don't respond well to that. And, I think if you do shut the F up when people tell you to shut the F up, that, I don't have a lot of respect for that myself. So I probably will do some more content on this. I don't intend to really address the good doctor directly. And I mean, unless I feel like Donald Trump, because if you address me, absolutely I'm going to address you back. But as long as, he does his own thing and goes on his neo-Confederate life, I'll go about mine. But I will continue to talk about this issue, the issue of this neo-Confederatism and this idea of glorifying and romanticizing the Old South into something that it wasn't. Just like people love to talk about the 50s and the 60s as the good old days. Yeah, were there good things? Yes, there were. But there were a lot of horrible things as well. And to the dipshit who said like, oh, this is, your white guilt, you liberal, whatever. Fuck you. This isn't white guilt. White guilt is exactly what liberal mother effers do, where they do stupid woke crap. No, but we can acknowledge the reality of what occurred then. If you do not acknowledge that reality, you are a moron. And maybe a racist. I don't know. Maybe. But if you're flying Confederate flags, maybe. If you love Jefferson Davis and think he's better than Ronald Reagan or any American president, you might be a racist. Isn't that the what's that comedian? Forget his name right now. You might be a redneck guy. I think we could do those with you might be a racist. Because you might not. You could be someone that genuinely just loves the stars and bars. Someone who genuinely just thinks Jefferson Davis was the great leader. But I'm a little suspect. And I think it's fair to be a little suspect to that. All right, so didn't really get any pipe smoking done. So I'm going to get back to that. Get back to working on a pipe. And again, feel free to comment. Let the hate flow if you wish. It's perfectly okay. It's America. You're allowed to hate people that think differently than you. Later.